Hi guys, welcome. I hate your blue hair. Did you take that personally? Did that offend you? Or do you think I'm insane for starting my podcast like that? And okay, wait, and if you actually do have blue hair, ignore that first example. Pretend the podcast just started right now. I hate your pink hair. Did that offend you? Did you take that personally? Or do you guys still think I'm freaking nuts for starting my podcast like this? My guess would be you all probably think I'm a little bit nuts right now. Which is good because this is the energy we want to channel anytime we feel like someone is judging us. Anytime someone wants to talk their smack to us or make mean comments or talk behind our back, or if we just think someone's talking about us or judging us, this confusion you have right now, this energy of like, what in the actual crap is Kate talking about right now? Is she okay? Is she nuts? Like, why is she saying this? That energy right there, that confusion, that raw confusion, that is how I want you to respond. That is the energy I want you to channel anytime you feel like someone's judging you. So now let's unpack what this energy actually means. But first, let me properly welcome you to my exclusive podcast and YouTube series that is based on my keynote, Going Viral is an Inside Job, where we are not talking content strategy, but we are talking about becoming the person who just is viral. So back to me hating a hair color that you don't have. What is the point of that example? The point is to show you that if you knew you didn't have blue hair and someone came up to you and was like, I hate your blue hair, you would look at them like they're nuts, right? Because you know you don't have blue hair. You wouldn't be offended by anything they're saying. You would look at them like they are the crazy ones, right? You wouldn't be like, oh my God, like my hair, I should go fix it. If you didn't have blue hair, you would be like, dude, what in the heck are you talking about? That same energy where you were confused as to why I started my podcast like that, that is how you should look at anyone. That's the energy you should channel anytime someone's judging something about you, because you should know so wholeheartedly that whatever they're saying is not true, or you so wholeheartedly know who you are and what you stand for, that anything anyone says just rolls off your back. You look at them like they're the fucking crazy ones, right? Like, oh, you think I'm crazy for going after my dreams, for trying all these things? You're judging me for this? Well, I think you're crazy for not doing it. Why wouldn't you want to do this? Like, you should be looking at them like they are nuts. You should be looking at them the same way you would look at me if I said, I hate your blue hair and you don't have blue hair. If you do have blue hair, I hate your pink hair. Now, you would look at me and be like, girl, what are you talking about? Well, like, I don't have pink hair. You're nuts, right? Like, you need to look at people who judge you like they're the crazy ones for judging you. And I want to bring up an important psychological factor here as to why this energy can sometimes be hard to channel. And it might sound obvious, like, okay, Kate, yeah, like if someone comes up to me and says something that I know isn't true, of course I'm going to look at them like they're crazy. The problem is that a lot of times when we do get triggered by things people say, or we do worry if someone's judging us, we do worry what people are saying behind our back, it's because there's a part of us that still thinks that's true about ourselves, right? If someone came up to us and was like, oh my gosh, Kate, like your bangs are stupid, I hate your blonde bob, like then I might be like, oh, like really? Like why? But if someone came up to me and said, oh, I hate your blue hair, I would be like, okay, like I know that's obviously like you're on drugs or something because my hair's blonde. But if someone came up to me and said something about my blonde hair and I was like insecure about my hair or something, like I was like, you know, oh, I don't know how I feel about my hairstyle today, like, and I'm already thinking self-consciously about it, or I'm already kind of worried about it, or I'm already, you know, in that identity of like questioning something about myself, then if someone says something, then I'm going to be upset about it, then I'm going to worry about it, then I'm going to take it personal. So anytime we take something personal, anytime we're worried about someone judging us, it's really only reflecting what we already think about ourselves, what we are already like secretly, subconsciously worried about being true about ourselves, right? We would never get offended by something that we knew with 100% certainty wasn't true. So why this information is important is because now we know that when we do get triggered by someone or something someone says, or we are worried like, oh my gosh, what are they thinking about me? What if they're thinking XYZ? Anything that we are worried about, anything that we are triggered by, we know is a piece of our identity that we still have to solidify for ourselves, or something that we have to work through, or something that we have to dig through and say, okay, where are my doubts around this? And how can I give myself evidence that that's actually not true? That I can really instill this value in this specific piece of my identity right here. So I want to emphasize again, The only reason you will ever be worried about what someone else is thinking about you, about what someone else said about you, about what someone else might be saying about you, the only reason you will ever be worried about it or take it personally or be offended by it or triggered by it is because there's a part of you that still thinks that's true about yourself. This is a very, very important distinction I want to make, and it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes because our ego obviously doesn't want to admit that we actually think these things about ourselves, that we don't think we're perfect, that we are still worried or insecure about XYZ, which is why our ego's projecting it onto other people and saying, oh my gosh, I think these people are saying XYZ about me, because it's really what we're just thinking about ourselves, but our ego doesn't want it to come from us because our ego is like, it's our ego. It doesn't want to feel bad about itself. So it's like, you know what, I'm gonna pretend that they're the ones saying it, or that they really upset me because of what they said, so that it can come from them instead of from me. But at the end of the day, anything we get upset about someone else saying is because there's a part of us that still worries that that is true about ourselves. And we know that one of the biggest reasons any of us struggle with posting online or showing up authentically online or talking about certain things in our business or showing up in certain ways in our content is because we're worried about what people are going to think, right? This is the number one thing, is always, oh, but what are they going to think? And even if it doesn't stop us from doing it, it might stop us from fully showing up as ourselves, from fully acting like we're a big deal, because it's like, oh, if I act like I'm a big deal, if I act like I'm a superstar and I only have 500 followers, people are going to look at me and be like, oh my gosh, girl, are you crazy? Like, you're so not that. And if it doesn't ever happen, then I'm going to feel stupid. I'm going to feel disappointed, and they're going to be thinking all these things about me. Worrying about what other people think of us is the biggest way to stop us from going after our dreams, to stop us from believing in what we want as being inevitable, because we're so worried. What if I think this is true and I show up this way and then it doesn't happen, and what are they going to think? What are people going to say? All of those worries, it's really just you fearing, oh my gosh, well, what if this doesn't work out for me? What if I don't get what I want? What if I'm disappointed because of this didn't happen for me? So we know that worrying about what other people think, or worrying now we know it's actually just what we think about ourselves, or what we don't believe in about ourselves, or we're still worried is true about ourselves. Now that we know, or we have known, that this is one of the biggest blocks to posting consistently, to showing up authentically, to just being as big, treating yourself like a big deal, walking around like you're a big deal, right? Because we know that in order to see the results that reflect back to us, hey, you're a big deal, here are all the followers, here are all the likes, here's all the clients, all the success, all the whatever, we have to first walk around like we're a big fucking deal. But if our brain is sitting here worrying like, oh my God, what are they gonna think if I walk around like this? What are they gonna think if I act like this? Then that's gonna stop us from showing up that way. It's gonna stop us from feeling that way, from believing that truly about ourselves, from embodying that. And we know that if we still have these fears of like, oh, I'm not that big a deal, that's what we're gonna keep projecting into our reality. So we need to get the worry about what other people are thinking the heck out of here, and we need to get to the root of it, right? Which is actually what we're thinking about ourselves, so that we can say, okay, what parts of my identity, what doubts do I still have, what negative thoughts do I still have about myself, or what limiting beliefs do I still have around this result, that I can now actually get to the root of and instill value in and instill belief in myself or the situation, right? Because if we're just sitting here projecting these things onto other people, judging us and saying, oh, well, this person is judging me, so I can't do this, or this person said this, so I can't do this, we're keeping the solution and the problem outside of us. We're keeping the problem outside of us, which means that we're subconsciously telling ourselves the solution is outside of us too, which keeps us stuck here and keeps us sitting here saying, oh, I can't have what I want, I can't do what I want, I'm never going to get the success I want, because we're thinking that these things, these people outside of us are our obstacles, when it's really our own beliefs about ourselves, okay? So how do we eliminate the worry of what other people are thinking, and how do we get to the root of really instilling this value in us, so that when someone comes up to us and is like, your content sucks, it feels the same way as when I said, oh, I hate your blue hair, and you're like, I love my content, I know my content does good, like, look at all these things, look at all this proof. Like, how do we channel that energy of someone coming up to you and saying, I hate your blue hair, or I hate whatever color hair you don't have, and channel that same, like, what in the heck are you talking about energy into our content, into who we are, into how we show up, into our identity, and who we show up as, who we feel like we are, who we actually are. And if I wanted to just keep this very fluffy value, I would just say, guys, you just gotta stop caring what people think. Just don't care. Just go about your life. Don't care what people think. Like, you just gotta care less. Yeah, I understand 100% that's true, but like how, right? I'm a very logical person. My brain is always like, okay, but how, but how, but how? I don't understand. Like, give me an actual thing to do. So that's what we're going to get into. Before I give you a tool for actually unpacking this, actually being able to stop caring what other people think, actually being able to instill this value in you and fill in these gaps where they're still there, where you still might be worried about what other people are thinking about you, before we get into the actual tool and the actual journal exercise, I want to ask you another question that I hope is going to be like a perspective shifting reframe of like, oh, yeah, you're so right. Like, I don't need to give a single flying F about what people think about me. So obviously we started with the blue hair example. If we knew that what someone else was saying about us was absolutely not true, there wasn't an ounce of ourselves that thought that about ourselves, we wouldn't give two craps about what these people are saying, what they're thinking, etc. Another perspective shift I want to give you. If you took everyone whose opinions you are worried about, whose judgment you are worried about, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your family, maybe it's people from high school, maybe it's your exes, whoever's opinion, whoever words you're worried about judging you or disagreeing with what you're doing, how you're showing up, your actions, saying something behind your back, if you were to take all those people, your family, your friends, people from high school, your exes, whoever, you were to take all these people and put them in a room, is there any topic that you could give them, any opinion, any person that they would all agree on and be like, yes, this is absolutely true. We absolutely all love and feel the same way about this person. Like, you put Taylor Swift in a room, you put political figures in a room, you put Kanye West in a room, you put religious figures in a room. Like, is there any, you talk about a food, you talk about spaghetti, you talk about tacos, like whatever. You put any ice cream, you put any topic in this room with all of these people. Is every single person in that room, your family, your friends, your exes, people from high school, people on the street, people on TikTok, whatever you're worried about, are they all ever going to agree on that same topic, have the same opinion on it, all love it, all feel so good, so happy, have nothing bad to say about it? Are they ever all going to feel that way? No. And if you can find me a group of people who do, be my guest, but there's always going to be someone who has a different opinion or who had a bad experience with something or who thinks differently about this for whatever reason or who just doesn't want anything to do with it, who doesn't like this. And that's normal, right? And that's like, we wouldn't expect them to all agree on the same opinion on one thing. So why are you trying to be that thing for people? Why are you trying to be the thing that everyone can agree on, that everyone can sit here and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, she never does anything wrong. I totally agree with everything she says. I totally agree with everything they're talking about. I totally agree with everything he does. Like, why are you trying to be that thing for people when there's not one other thing in this world that could do that? Why are you trying to be the one to do it? I hope that was a very eye-opening perspective shift of like, you are trying to fill a role that can't even be filled by puppies. Even if you put a puppy in the middle, there's going to be someone who's like, I'm a cat person. Like, there's always going to be something that people disagree on about anything. So stop trying to be the perfectly digestible, perfectly polished, perfectly whatever person or content or business or brand, because there isn't one thing in this world that everyone's going to agree on. So stop trying to be that. And when you stop trying to put that pressure on yourself, that pressure that has not been met by literally anything in this world yet, you allow yourself to just be you. And then you find the people that absolutely love you. And maybe there's some people who disagree, but that's the law of polarity. If you want to be really loved, there's also, of course, going to be people who hate you. Look at any big celebrity. Look at Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, Taylor Swift. Like, all these people, there's always going to be, you have people who are absolutely obsessed, who absolutely love you, and then there's going to be people who can't stand you. That's the law of polarity, because you are showing up authentically. You're not wavering the line of like, okay, yeah, I'm not saying anything bold, I'm not saying anything disagreeable, so like, some people kind of like what I have to say, and no one really hates what I have to say, but you don't have people who really, really, really are obsessed with you or love you or like obsessed with your content, and you don't have really people who hate your content. But if you aren't being yourself, if you aren't putting yourself out there boldly, if you're not just allowing yourself to show up regardless of what anyone else thinks or says or feels about it, you're not going to attract those people who are absolutely obsessed, who want to hear every single thing you have to say, who value every single word and thought that comes out of your mouth. Like, and true, like these true, authentic thoughts that come out of your mouth. There are people out there waiting for you to say those things because they agree with them. They want someone to say them. They're waiting for someone to be their voice. And when they hear you show up this way, it inspires them to be able to show up that way. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. And this is how you create your community. This is how you find your people, is when you are not afraid to show up fully as yourself. And to show up fully as yourself, you can't give a crap about what anyone else thinks. You can't worry about being the perfectly polished, perfectly digestible little piece of whatever that everyone can agree on, because that's not a thing. That does not exist. So stop giving yourself a task that has not been like done by literally anything else in this world. And then my final perspective shift before we get into the actual tool. When people say you're crazy, or that's not normal, or that's weird, or why are you talking about this? Look at their life, look at their goals, look at their normal. Because if someone's commenting on your TikTok and is like, you're fucking crazy, and you look at their profile and they're like overweight, divorced, unhappy, whatever, they're broke, like whatever they're doing, if that's normal to them, I would hope that I'm crazy, that what I'm doing is crazy to you. Because if I was normal to you, like if that stuff is normal to you, I don't want to be normal to you, because I don't want anything to do with any of that, right? Like I hope I am crazy if that's normal to you. And so number one, like look at who's saying what about you. Even like if it's your friends or family, if they don't have the same goals as you, if they don't want to live the same lifestyle as you, if they don't know like the same things you know, of course they're probably not going to get it. Of course they're not going to always agree. Of course they might be like, why are you doing this? Why are you saying this? What are you talking about? Like, that would be expected if their goals, if their lifestyle isn't going to be the same as yours, doesn't line up as yours. So not only look at where someone is, but also even if you're both starting from the same point, if your goals are different than someone, if you want to travel and you want to make all this money and you want to like see the world and like just see your potential and have all these things, and someone else just wants to like, you know, live comfortably and have a family and a home, like neither one is right or wrong, but of course, your actions are going to be different than theirs. Your beliefs are going to be different than theirs. And they might look at you and be like, that's crazy. Why do you work that much? Why do you do this? Why do you spend so much time on this? Why? Like, and for a second, you might be like, oh my gosh, do I spend too much time on this? Like, am I insane for doing this? Like, is this crazy? But then in the same sentence, they're going to be like, well, I don't think, you know, I ever want to make more than 6 figures, or I don't think I ever want to, you know, to have a business, or like whatever. Like you have to remind yourself that their goals are different than yours. So of course their opinions, their views on life, their actions are going to be different than yours, and they might disagree with what you're doing, with what you're saying, with what you believe, and that's fine. And we all know that whatever we believe, whatever we think is normal, whatever we focus on is what's going to be created for us. There's not a right or wrong path. There's not a right or wrong goal to have, but whatever anyone chooses to believe is possible for them in their life, or chooses that they want in their life, it's not right or wrong, but we know that whatever we focus on is what we'll get more of. So if you want to focus on this, know that that's possible for you. And if they want to focus on that, then like that's what they'll see. And if they are sitting here saying, well, that's never worked out for me, this marriage isn't good, or money isn't good, or this isn't good, you have to know that that's just their belief. And if they have proof of that, that's because they've been thinking that. If you want to think something different, if you want to go a different way, if you want to take a different route, you have different beliefs, you can expect a different outcome. You don't have to listen to what they're saying. So last point here, perspective shift being, look at where someone is, look at what's normal to them. If you wouldn't trade lives with them, if you wouldn't trade goals with them, disregard what they're saying. Even if it's your family and friends that love you dearly and obviously want the best for you, if they do not want the same things you want, take what they say with a grain of salt. Know that it's coming from a place of love, of course, but if they have no idea like what you really want, what your goals are, it's better to listen to someone who has your goals. Take someone, if you are going to take anyone's advice, if you're going to take anyone's comments to heart, take it from someone who has what you want. Take it from someone who is where you want to be. So look at what's normal to them, look at where their life is, look at where they want their life to be, what their goals are. If you wouldn't trade those things, or if they don't have something you want, disregard their comments, their judgment, any of it, because it should be different. Your actions, your beliefs, your thoughts should be different, should be questionable to someone who wants nothing to do with the life that you want to live. So now, our exercise. How do we fully, now we've we're fired up about, okay, yeah, you're right, Kate. I don't give a crap what people think. My life should be different. My goals should be different. Like, this should all be different. Great, I don't care what they think. Now that we've kind of separated ourselves from that, for the things that do still bother you, or the things you are still a little bit worried, like, what if people are judging me for this? What if people are thinking this about me? What if people are saying this about me? The root of those things, like we talked about, is that we are thinking those things about ourselves. So now I want to make sure that we unpack what those blocks are, those limiting beliefs, those old narratives or identities that we're still like limiting ourselves to. We unpack those and we instill the opposite. We instill this truth, this value that's like, I'm so confident in this about myself that nothing anyone says anymore would trigger me. Nothing anyone says anymore would upset me. The same way if someone came up to you and said something about your hair and you knew you didn't have that hair color, you wouldn't care. All of these things that you're still a little bit worried about, people might be thinking or saying, we are going to channel that energy of like, what are you talking about? I know this isn't true about myself, into these things that we might still be worried about. So what I want you to do, get out your journal, and this is the exercise we're going to go through. I want you to write down all the things that people either have said about you or to you, or just the things that you're worried people are going to say. Like, what are you worried people are saying about you? Because this is obviously usually more telling than even just what people are saying, because we'll be worried about what people are saying, like worried what they might say, even if no one said it yet. If we're worried about it, that's because we're thinking that about ourselves. So, and like a lot of times we don't even need people to say it, and we're still sitting around being like, oh my gosh, but what if they think this? And it's like, no one thinks that but you, but you're sitting here worried about all these other people saying this. Long story short, write down what people have either said that's offended you, that's upset you, that's triggered you, that's made you sad, mad, angry, whatever. And write down anything you are worried people might say about you. What do you think people would judge you for? What do you think people would say behind your back? What do you think people are secretly judging you for? Does it have to do with your content? Does it have to do with where you live? Does it have to do with your finances? Does it have to do with the way you talk? Does it have to do with what you're selling, the way you show up online? Like, what are these things that you're worried about people are thinking about you? I want you to write them all down. Anything you're worried or anything you think people might be judging you for, write it all down. And then read through that list and understand that these are still the things that you are secretly thinking about yourself. You are still worried it's true about yourself. You haven't fully established enough belief in yourself to believe, okay, well, I know I can show up like this in content because I'm certain that I'm gonna, be successful and have this many followers and like make a career from this. Like, what are those things that you're still worried about, or the things you're worried about other people are saying? Those are what you are worried about yourself. Those are your limiting beliefs around yourself, around your goals, around your situation. Those are your limiting beliefs. So what I want you to do now is go through each of those and then write down proof that either proves these wrong or proves that the opposite, the desired result that you want, is actually true. So let's say, I'm worried people are making fun of me because I'm showing up online like an influencer, but I don't have, influencer level followers yet. If that's the limiting belief, if that's what you're worried people are thinking about you, what you might write in this other column is, okay, but I know that I've consistently gained followers every single day, and as long as I keep posting, like, it's inevitable for me to get to the follower count I want, or to get to the level where I have brand deals, where I have these things. Like, I know this is possible. Or write down, okay, well, I might have videos that still flop, but I've also had videos that have gone viral. I've also had brands already reach out to me for collabs. Like, what evidence do you have that can instill this value in this area, right? Because if this is the worry, what we're worried about, what other people are thinking of us, and this is actually what we still doubt around ourselves, we need to give our brain proof to make that confidence, to make that value in ourselves so unshakable that we're like, okay, yeah, like, I have this limiting belief, I have this doubt in myself or my results or situation right now where it's like, okay, I don't have the followers, but look at how much I've grown. Like, even though it's still a small, quote unquote, small amount, look how much I've grown in this period of time. Look at how many videos I've had that have done really, really well. Look at all the people commenting that are like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear this. Thank you so much. I've never heard it put like this before. And ask yourself, you know, like, if this can happen, why not more? Why can't more people feel the same way? If one person liked this video, if one person felt this way about this, why can't more people? So giving yourself as much evidence as you can to each of these worries, each of these, you know, what is other people thinking? What are other people judging me for? Each of those things, I want you to go through and give yourself evidence that proves them wrong or instills the value that you desire in yourself, that gives your brain evidence that it can feel confident in this area, so that when someone says, oh, but you don't have that many followers, you're like, okay, well, look at how much I've grown, look at my engagement. I know that as long as I keep posting, like, I'm getting new followers every day. I know it's inevitable. So, like, you can say that right now, sure, that might be true, but, like, I'm confident. I know that what I want is inevitable. So when you say, oh, you don't have that many followers, now I'm not triggered, now I'm not discouraged, now I'm not doubtful, now I'm not upset. I'm looking at you like you just told me I hate your blue hair and I have blonde hair. Like, I am like, okay, sure, but, like, give it a little bit of time. Give me, like it's happening. I have no doubt in my mind that it's happening. The same way we would respond to someone who says something about our hair when that's not our color hair, and we'd be like, dude, you're crazy. Like, someone says something about the followers, it's like, dude, you're crazy. Like, look how much it's grown. Look where we're going. Like, this is all going to happen, and I have no doubt in my mind about it. I have no doubt in my mind that my hair looks good today. I have no doubt in my mind that these doubts that I'm worried about other people saying aren't true, because I've just given myself all this value, all this proof that what I actually want is possible, that all these things that I'm worried people think actually aren't true about myself. So do this exercise, give yourself the value, give your logical mind the evidence that it wants, that it needs to really feel truly about these things, and see how your confidence in yourself shifts, and also your ability to give 0 Fs about what other people think. It's going to skyrocket after this. I hope all the perspective shifts help, and I hope this exercise really gives you the tangible proof and evidence to feel confident in not giving a crap and not worrying about what other people say, because anytime you do worry about what they say, you know it's just something you still think about yourself, and you can pull out this exercise and say, okay, this triggered me. Clearly, this is what I'm still thinking about myself. So let me ask why, and let me see if I can find evidence that proves it wrong. And you can repeat this anytime someone says something that triggers you, anytime someone says something that upsets you. Now you know what to do. Now you know how to handle it. And you can post and show up and walk around without giving a crap about what people think of you. And that's going to allow you to show up in this viral identity. So now that we're not worried about what other people think, the next order of business is going to be, oh my gosh, what about competition? What about other people? Okay, we're creating a reality where we don't have competition. That's what we're getting into the next episode. So stay tuned, and I'll see you tomorrow.